Hello, magnificent eardrums. It's Thursday, the 9th of April, 2020, and we do warmly welcome you to the Voicing the World Late Night Noisecast, Episode 7. Once again, doing what we can and what we must to ensure feasts of reason, flows of soul, and stolen moments of inspiration in the time of Corona. On the show tonight, we're bringing adventures in sound from British-Australian queen of all things bop, hip and scat, Anita Wardell, from British-New Zealand baritone and Kathleen Ferrier award winner Julien Van Mellaerts, and via a special interview and down-the-wire performance from founder and director of the wonderful new Italian initiative, the Andra Tutto Bene online music festival, cellist Riccardo Pes. I begin tonight's episode, as I find myself doing every Thursday then, with continuing gratitude for all of your wonderful feedback and interactions across the interweb, emails, texts, the bookface, and such. Indeed, somehow this is already our 5th week of putting these shows out, which came as something of a revelation to me, I assure you, as I dug out that most meaningless of printed records now, my diary, from under the detritus of lockdown lethargy. But a fact I'm nonetheless moved to acknowledge during so strange a duration. So, once again, here we go. It's now day 27 here of isolation and lockdown in the Voicing the World bunker, and the doors of perception and reflection are swinging wide open for me this week, as all of those glorious people who have influenced and indeed opened doors for me are coming to the forefront of my proverbial brain pan. One such individual, a true super circle contender if e'er there were, lands as my first featured music department luminary of the night. 2 weeks ago, I played a track from the Rob Barron Quartet on this very show. Well, Rob and I studied at Leeds College of Music together once upon a jazz course, and we moved to London around the same time. Upon hitting London, I was looking for a jazz vocal coach to continue the indulgence of my professional curiosities. And Rob knew just the woman for the job. The phenomenon that was, and very much is, Anita Wardell. I often feel cursed with a preposterously detailed memory, one which tends to bring up practically every word and action I've ever employed and reminds me of said exertions on an hourly basis. Sometimes, however, that faculty is a blessing. In the case of the wonderful, formative, and artistically charged times Anita and I trained together and later worked together, I consider myself fundamentally blessed to recall each and every one. In every music scene, there are the fledgling impersonators, those who will later find their own voice through maturity, and those who will come to find a reminiscent place in the audience's mind through replication. Both types of newcomers rely very heavily at every stage upon the innovating luminaries whose journeys began before, those who know where the secrets are buried. From the moment we met, on Rob Barron's recommendation, I knew that Anita knew where the secrets were buried. She knew what jazz was capable of, and what she was capable of living and expressing through it. With tradition, innovation, and emotion, Anita has carved her world-beating artistic journey through the Great American Songbook and beyond. A favorite of mine from her landmark record noted, "This is wonderful, wonderful."
Sometimes we walk hand in hand by the sea, and we breathe in the cool, salty air. You turn to me with a kiss in your eye, and my heart it feels a thrill beyond compare. Then your lips cling to mine. Wonderful, wonderful, oh so wonderful, my love. Sometimes we stand on the top of a hill, and we gaze at the earth and the sky. I turn to you and you melt in my arms. There we are, my darling, only you and I. What a moment to share. Wonderful, wonderful, oh so wonderful, my love. The world is full of wondrous things, it's true. There just isn't meaning without you. And some quiet evening I sit by your side, and we're lost in a world of our own. I feel the glow of aware now of the treasure that I own. And I say to myself, wonderful, wonderful, oh, so wonderful, my love. The world is full of wondrous things, it's true. There just isn't meaning without you. And some quiet evening we sit side by side and we're lost in a world of our own. I feel the glow of your unspoken love. I'm aware now of the treasure that I own. And I say to myself, wonderful, wonderful, oh, so wonderful, my love. Yes, I say to myself, wonderful, wonderful, oh, so wonderful, my love. Wonderful, 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 marvelous. You should care for me. Wonderful, marvelous. You should care for me.
Robin Aspland, Steve Brown, Jeremy Brown, and Anita Wardell there, with the Ben Raleigh and Sherman Edwards rarity, Wonderful, Wonderful, a hit for Johnny Mathis in 1957 and for the Supremes in the early 60s, imbued on this recorded occasion with refreshing pace, swinging energy, and soaring joy. That track puts me in mind of my early years on London's jazz scene, while learning from Anita as a vocalist, excitedly and nervously guesting with her, by virtue of her generosity, at such venerable venues as the 606 Club, the Dean Street Pizza Express Jazz Club, and the much-missed Pizza on the Park. I've never known what the deal is with jazz and pizza, by the way, beyond the shared use of the double Z, but there were few better rooms to this day in which to swing a quaver. To reflect on the training days of old is an increasingly comforting thought in the present global melee, a seemingly innocent time now, pure of heart and intention, and fueled by the blissful sense that whatever one imagined the world capable of providing would inevitably come to be provided, if only one could overcome the given technique-based difficulties of any given practice week. Anita has remained close in person and even closer in soul for nearly 15 years. Presently based in Australia, Britain is graced every time she returns with noises new, and I yearn for the night we can count in a tune together once more. Links below as ever, folks. Please make your enjoyment count. So, what's going on? Well, I'm a soul in love with words, and conversely, a soul who knows when words just aren't enough. Over previous episodes, I've shared with you, my much appreciated listeners, my concern for the health of a dear man in my life who had been wrestling with the coronavirus, actor Jay Benedict. A man whose effervescence in his every encounter, warmth as a father and husband, and global gregariousness guarantees that, even with the news of his passing this past weekend, his soul will forever come through the surf alive in all who loved him. With your permission, then, I raise a glass of appropriately fine and appropriately French brandy tonight to Jay Benedict and his impossibly gifted family. Here's to the pride of former days and to his pride in his children for many, many years to come. In such times as these, we turn to friends and music. I turn here now to the poised power of baritone Julien Van Mellaerts. Julien has performed art song works of mine in years gone by, and his spirit as a performer and collaborator in rehearsal, in the studio, and in performance is unparalleled. Spoilt for choice as to which of his supreme deliveries to deliver to you here tonight, I came across one I hadn't previously encountered, but which struck the right tone with me the second it began. Here with Quilter's take on Alfred Lord Tennyson's Now Sleeps the Crimson Petal, this is Simon Lepper on piano with Julien Van Mellaerts.
Now sleeps the crimson petal, now the white. Now waves the cypress in the palace walk. Now winks the goldfin in the porphyry font. The firefly wakens, waken thou in me. Now folds the lily all her sweetness out, and slips into the bosom of the lake. So fold thyself, my dearest, thou, and sleep into my bosom, and be lost in me.
Julien Van Mellaerts there, Simon Lepper on piano, in live performance with Quilter and Tennyson in creative union. Now Sleeps the Crimson Petal. Links below once again, folks, with gratitude as ever. We close out tonight's Noisecast now in a first for this show's format. An exclusive interview and live performance from the founder of Italy's Andra Tutto Bene online music festival, cellist Riccardo Pes. I've recently had the honour of performing as part of Riccardo's festival via live stream from here in London, and of writing and recording an original poem of mine as voiceover to one of the festival's new promotional trailers. I'm delighted to say Riccardo joined me down the line from Italy earlier this evening, lifting spirits as he does in his inimitable way, at a time when so much pressure and uncertainty are felt so acutely. A force of positivity and good spirits such as he is in very short supply, and all the more needed as such. It is my great joy, then, to share our conversation with you now. Thank you for doing this, Riccardo, and for being with us. Tell us a little bit about your music career and who you are as a musician, please. Everything you'd care to share, of course, and everything that's fit to print.
All right. Well, I started when I was 9 years old, and I wasn't in love with the cello at first because the cello, I didn't really understand the instrument. So when I was 16, I met a really incredible teacher who died, unfortunately, 2 years later. And this teacher really showed me how the cello could be played in a different way, so with much more enthusiasm and much more passion. So I really fell in love with this instrument. So at the age of 16, I realized that I wanted to become a cellist. And so yeah, I got my master at the conservatory in Venice, and afterwards I went to Rome, an Accademia Santa Cecilia in Rome, and I studied with a great cellist, Giovanni Sollima. He's a virtuoso and also a composer. So he pushed me to also start to compose. So he asked me to write a cello sonata for him, and yeah, it was a big honor because he was one of the mainstream cellists around. So where I thought, wow, actually, he asking me to write music for him. So I felt deeply honored by this request. And then I started also to study composition. So yeah, after my graduation at the Accademia Santa Cecilia, I lost my father, unfortunately, and I decided to quit and decided to not play anymore because I wanted like something happened the same to Michael Jordan, because he didn't want to play anymore without his father. So I didn't want to perform anymore without my father in the audience. So this was my feeling at the moment. And but after that, I met an incredible teacher. It was the first cellist at Wiener Philharmonica in Vienna. I started to have some private lessons with him, and then I decided to move to London. I just tried the audition at the Royal Academy and the Royal College, and so when I got both, and the Royal College, I met Melissa Phelps, my teacher. And I felt deeply in love with her because I don't know, something, a chemistry in there, I don't know. So when she asked me why do you want to study at the Royal College? I didn't realize that I said that I wanted to study with her, but it came out of my mouth without thinking, because I really felt she was the right one to get me back on track. So yeah, after that I started to freelancing, to compose, and to enjoy my projects and meet wonderful people like you, Michael. And yes.
Thank you, Riccardo. I had the great privilege, of course, of seeing you perform several times in London over the years, but on this occasion, under these circumstances, we've been brought together once more by this incredible festival that you've set up, the Andra Tutto Bene online music festival. Tell us how this idea and wonderful initiative came into being.
At first, Italy was affected as first country in Europe, and we had this shutdown. Everything was stuck all of a sudden, and I saw a new world coming, like without music, without musician, without performances. So I felt very sad and depressed in a way. So it took me like 5-6 days to realize that, because I felt deeply I don't know, depressed really. And so I wanted to, because yes, I lost some performances, of course, it's a source of income, but the idea of a world without music was really out of the question. I didn't want to live in a world like that. So yes, after that I saw many different online performances. So yeah, after a few days, some people, especially actors, started to act through social medias, but the music was shocked. I think the world of music was really shocked about that. So I wanted to create a festival to gather all the musicians and to spread some positive energy and to make people live, to make music living again. So that's the idea of the festival. So in just a few days, I started on the 14th of March, thinking about the festival. So by Sunday, 15, I had the full calendar with all the people. Really, I have to thank all the fantastic musicians, something like 35 musicians. Thank you so much, Michael, for being part of it, really. And yes, it's been incredible because, you know, sometimes there is a lot of competition between musicians, but this time we really felt together and really struggled and fought together for a very important cause. So we understood, I think, something new, that we really need to stick together. We really need to support each other. We really need to have music and beauty in our life. And so, yeah, that's the whole meaning of the festival.
Fantastic. And of course, my absolute pleasure and honor to have played any part I could in it for you. Thinking of how much it's taken to put this together, who have been the core team around you that have helped you in this exciting endeavor?
Well, the idea, I had the idea, but I discussed this idea with a very important journalist in Italy, Paola Dalle Molle, and we discussed about the title, how to promote it, what we really wanted to say with this festival. So after that, we started to create the calendar, the graphic, and we decided to ask also to a musicologist, a very important musicologist, Roberto Calabretto, to introduce also all the performances. So he decided to join us, and he was very happy, and so we were in three. Along the way, we met Yuki Negishi. She was our first artist performing, and she asked me to help. So I asked her to help all the musicians to arrange the whole tech side of the festival. So to receive the info, she helped all the musicians to create the live streaming through Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, a big team. So now there is another guy helping me out with graphic. So we are in 5 now. So yeah, it's been really something special. I mean, a little miracle, I would say.
Beautifully put as ever there. Thank you. And I think my final question tonight relates to something I was thinking about earlier. Today is, of course, the closing date of, dare I say it, your first Andra Tutto Bene festival. I'm wondering, when you set this date, how you imagined you'd be feeling come this date. And now that we're actually here, how are you feeling tonight about the festival and all it has achieved?
Well, I had pretty much figured exactly how I wanted the things to be, and so I have to say that I stick with the plan. So now I felt like I have accomplished all I imagined before starting, and yeah, I also I thought also that I would have been very emotional to reach the end of the festival. So now I feel very nostalgic, and but yeah, it's part of the experience. So yeah, I'm super happy. I mean, the expectation weren't that high. I didn't expect people to follow us all the time, every day, all the live streamings we had, sometimes twice in a day. So I felt like the people would have get would have got bored of seeing us all the time on socials streaming, but it wasn't. And so yeah, also we received lots of people asking lots of proposals from many different musicians to perform during this festival. They loved the atmosphere, they loved the energy, they loved they loved the whole thing. But for now we just want to thank all the people who performed so far. So we will see also for the future, we will see if we are going to continue the experience. But I don't know, I think we reached something for now, and it's fine for now. We are super happy and satisfied. We will see for the future, and I don't know, for now I think I have accomplished the whole thing I planned to do. So yeah, for now I feel really fulfilled by this experience.
We leave you tonight then with an exclusive performance for the Voicing the World Late Night Noisecast, an arrangement of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah from Riccardo Pes. I'm Michael L. Roberts. Be sure as ever to make your enjoyment of these incredible artists count via the links below. I shall see you Monday night for the American Chronicle, a live stream performance of the Welsh National Anthem, and a return to the Andra Tutto Bene Festival for its closing ceremony at 6:30 p.m. Good luck, and ever onward to you all.